أعوذ بالله من بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين. The last thing remaining about the subject of sajda, sujood, was what is the list of acceptable things. Acceptable means things upon which the sajda is okay. What is the acceptable things upon which we are allowed to do the sajda? So basically, sajda is performed over on anything that belongs to al-ard, means the earth. Anything that belongs to the earth. So things that belongs to the earth, that's where the sajda needs to be done. Now the details is what we're going to study tonight. So anything which is no longer considered as quote-unquote earth is not acceptable for sajda. Examples, things which were belonging to earth, but now they are no longer considered to be part of earth. Examples are minerals. Minerals, for example, like gold and silver, for example, they are no longer considered to be part of earth. Or the glass. So we can't do sajda over the gold or the silver or the glass. Or something which is no longer considered to be a plantation. Plantations belong to the surface of earth, but as long as it's not eaten or used in dressing up, we will study about that very soon. So plantations otherwise belong to the surface of earth, but sometimes some of the plantations may no longer be considered as quote-unquote earth. Example is the ash. So if you burn down the plants and it converts into ash, the ashes of the plants, you cannot do the sajda on it because it's no longer called al-ard, the earth. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind. Now let's come to the list of things upon which we can do the sajda. Things that belong to al-ard, the earth. So starts with the soil. So, and let's remember, there is no preference in this thing. The only preference in sajda is what we are going to come very soon. But in the list of things, there is no preference. You can do on any of these things. None of these things are inferior or superior in terms of the preference of sajda. So soil, sand. 3 is like chalk or chalk stone. 5 brick. 6 stones. Not the precious or semi-precious stones. Seven, baked soil. Eight, marble. All the forms of marble are okay. Like you find marble in Al-Masjid al-Haram, where the Kaaba is located, they put the marble floor. So you can do the sajda over the marble, because marble is stone and it's part of earth. So all kinds of marbles are okay, except if there is an artificially made marble. Artificial marble obviously is not a marble, so it's cannot do sajda on an artificial marble. But as long as it's a genuine marble, it's a stone, so you can do sajda on it. 9, the millstone. Millstone is the one they used to install in the hand mills for grinding wheat or barley in old days. So the millstone is also obviously a stone, so you can do sajda on it. Number 10, plants. So all the plants are okay to do sajda on, except ma yu'kal, ma yu'kalu, aw yulbas. Except the things which are eaten or used for dressing up. Things which are eaten or used for dressing up. So those plants are an exception. We can't do the sajda on a plant which is eaten, even if it is So basically examples of this is that on the grains of wheat, it is a plant, but you cannot do sajda on the grains of wheat because it's eaten. We make bread from the wheat, or grains of barley, for example. So no one can do sajda on that. Leaves of wheat or barley will be okay as long as the leaves are not eaten. If someone, by humans, if some people eat it, we should avoid it. So anything that you know that it is eaten, and likewise, the discussion of plants also includes the fruits. They are also plants. So fruits, vegetables are also part of the same discussion of plantations. So we can't do sajda over the vegetables that are eaten, and we can't do sajda on the fruits which are eaten. So they are part of earth, but these are exceptions. Even though the time of the fruit is not ripe. Let's suppose you find a lemon, it's not ripe yet, or you find an apple, it's not ripe yet, but still, even if it's an unripe apple, you cannot do the sajda on it because it's something which is eatable. So even though it's not eatable in the current form because it's not ripe yet, but in itself, it's an eatable product.
So cotton leaves. So basically, cotton is variable, like
Yeah, cotton. I'm coming to that. Cotton, you cannot do. sajda on cotton. Yes, that's correct. But cotton leaves, if it's not eatable or if it's not used for dresses, then you can. If you find out that people eat the leaves, then you cannot. So, also under the discussion of fruits, we need to remember. We need to remember that in the discussion of the fruits, we have to keep in mind that the skin of the fruits, you can do sajda. We are talking about things upon which we can do sajda. So the skins of fruits we can't do sajda on it. But the skins of fruits can, are acceptable. So that means you can do sajda on it if skins are separated. If the skins are separated from the fruit. So if the skins are still not separated, that's attached to the fruit, you cannot do sajda on it. So skins.
Nowadays the skins are like people when they make juice and stuff, they are eatable. People almost.
Yeah, I'm coming to the exception. So here it says that except the skin of apple and cucumber. So these are usually eatables, except the skin of apple. Even if it is separated, you can still not do sajda on the skin of apple, even and cucumber. So exception means we are talking about the fact that the skins of fruits, you can do sajda on it. They are acceptable for sajda if the skins are separated from the fruits. Separated from fruits. Except the skin of apple and cucumber, even if these two skins are separated, we can still not do the sajda over the skins of apple and cucumber.
This could be extended to any apple-like fruit or cucumber-like vegetable whose peels people eat, right? So
Yeah, if you think that it is eatable, if you find out it's eatable, don't do sajda on it.
or people usually eat like pears and all those.
Yeah,
fruits,
don't do
like
it.
apples.
If you find out it's eatable, don't do it.
And then what about like orange? Some people make marmalade of orange with the peel.
It's eatable, yeah.
It's eatable.
It is eatable, yeah.
And then it would be not.
No, on any side of the
Any side of the skin. Yeah.
So basically it is
Even if it is eatable, eaten some of the time, so it's by some people in the society, still we should avoid it. And likewise, the skin of the grains. If you find the skin of the grains are eaten by some, you have to avoid those skins as well. You can't do the sajda on it.
So the skin of anar is good then?
Yes, nobody eats that. Yes, that is true, and I'm coming to that as well, because it says it is okay to do the sajda over the skin of pomegranate. Yes, so skins of fruits are acceptable for sajda, except the skin of apple and cucumber. So you can do the sajda on the skin of a pomegranate, anar, rumman. And as per the ihtiyat, we should not do, as per ihtiyat, we should avoid the skin of watermelon. Skin of watermelon should be avoided as per ihtiyat, precaution. So we should not do sajda over the skin of watermelon.
People wear the skin of the shell and the helmet in their head.
Of watermelon. So and cotton, we can't do sajda over cotton, but we can do the sajda over the stem of the cotton plant. The stem of the cotton plant, no one eats that. The stem of the cotton plant is okay. The leaves of the cotton plant are okay. But the cotton itself is not okay, because obviously it's used for making dresses. Likewise, the hasir, chatai, the rugs that you make of the skin of the stem of the tree, stem or skin of the palm tree, they make rugs, isn't it right? Rugs made from the skin of the palm tree, so kind of like a light greenish, yellowish color. A dry skin of the palm tree. So those rugs, hasir, it's okay to do sajda on it. No one eats that. So it's part of the earth. It's okay. If there is if a cloth is made from okay, yeah, that's okay, yeah. So this is about the list of the things, and the most superior, obviously, among all the things is the Turbatun Husayniyya. That means the soil of Karbala of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. That's the most superior, and obviously the soil of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We have hadith that in the sujuda على تربة تربة أبي عبد الله is the kunyat of Imam Hussain. تربة أبي عبد الله يخرق الحجب السبع. That means the sujood, certainly doing sajda over the soil of Abi Abdullah, means Imam Hussain Islam, rips apart the 7 curtains. So this the 7 curtains, obviously, which are there between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The sajda over this turbat and soil rips apart all the 7 curtains. So it makes us close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you are doing the and also in the we learn from the hadith that it lightens up, provides the nur till the 7 earths, all the 7 layers of earths. So not just upwards, the 7 nur, but up to the lower layers of earth, the 7 layers of earth, the nur is illuminated. It illuminates up till the 7th layer of the earth. So, tunawwir ila al-ardina sab'a. So this is about that. Now, when you are doing sajda over earth, things that belong to earth, it also includes mud. So mud means soil plus water, right? So mud is also part of earth. So you can do the sajda over earth, over mud, but you have to make sure that you have to make sure that when you put your head, it goes down and it settles. If it keeps on moving and it's shaky, then you cannot do sajda on a shaky place. We already studied that your head and all the 7 parts of the whole body has to be stable and stationary and not moving. So if you put it over mud and it's moving, it doesn't settle down, then you cannot do sajda. But if you put your head over mud and you press it a bit and it settles down, then it's okay. Then you can do over the mud in that case. When you are doing sajda over the mud, you should remember that it will stick to your forehead, naturally. It sticks to your forehead, so when you raise your head after doing the first sajda, you must remove the mud from your forehead, and after removing it, then you go back again. Okay? This is the thing that we have to keep in mind when we do sajda over the mud. Now, so these are basically the things, anything and everything that belongs to the earth, except the exceptions are what is ma yukal or yulbas, things which are used in eating. Even though some people eat it, we still will not do sajda on it, even if you don't eat it. Things which are exception that we cannot do sajda are all the things which are eaten, even by some people, or all the things which are used in dressing up. So these are the exceptions. Otherwise, everything that belongs to the surface of earth, you can do the sajda on it. Now, what if you don't find any of these things? Or you... No, there is no order. There is no order in this.
Like other than soil from mountain, soil and plant
No difference.
are the exact same value.
No difference. The order was about tayammum. In tayammum, when you do things over the sa'id, surface of earth, that where we studied there is an order.
So in sujood there is no order.
In sajda there is no order, except the superiority for Imam Hussain alayhi salam's soil, but the rest of the things, there is no superiority in any of these things.
So plant, I'm assuming you put extra there, so I figure anything.
Exception.
Exception?
Exception is ma yukal or yulbas, things which are eaten even by some people, or things which are used for dressing up. Anything like cotton, like plant of nas, baziha nas mi khurand.
Right.
You cannot do sajda on nas.
Grape leaves.
Grass you can do because that's what the animals eat. Humans don't eat grass.
I see.
So you can do the sajda on the grass. But those of the plants which they, for example, banafsh, anything that the humans eat, we will not do sajda on it. Even if some humans eat it.
So grass is okay.
Grass is okay. You can do sajda in a park, yeah, grass.
So some people like drink juice of wheat grass, for instance.
Uh-huh.
So wheat grass is considered has some.
Well, if you know about some specific plant, any specific plant which is eaten, you should avoid it.
So even if somebody drinks juice of it in the juice.
Yeah, if it is used in the juice, then avoid it. Yeah. There's one more exception when we are discussing it. There's one more exception is the leaf of tobacco. Tobacco leaf is used in cigarettes or cigars, but it is allowed to do sajda on it.
Grapes also, they put it dolma, the grapes, leaves.
Yeah, no. If they eat it, we don't do sajda on that. If they eat it, we will not do sajda on that. So, but tobacco leaves are exception. They are used in tobacco, but still it is allowed to do sajda on tobacco leaf. So now we almost covered almost everything. So now let's go to the next thing, which is what if we don't find any of these things? What is the responsibility of a person doing sajda who doesn't find any of these things? Well, the first responsibility is that he would do sajda on if you don't find any acceptable for sajda, acceptable thing for sajda. What if you don't find any of the acceptable things? Then the first thing you will go for, this has tartib and sequence. This thing has a tartib and sequence. You have to first go for the first thing, then the second, then the third. You cannot jump to the second. The first is a cloth made of cotton. The first preference you will give, if you don't find any of these things which are acceptable for sajda, then your first preference you have to go with the sequence. The first preference you have to give is to a cloth. You will do sajda. If you have a cloth with you, you have your sleeve. You can stretch your sleeve and do the sajda over the sleeve, okay? Or your shirt or any part of your cloth, if the cloth is made of cotton. Then you will, if you don't find any of these things, then you will go for a cloth made of cotton. What if you don't find a cloth made of cotton? Then second preference is doing sajda on any cloth. Okay? You have a polyester, you have a nylon, you have synthetic thing, any cloth. This is the second preference because you did not find the cloth of cotton. Now you'll go to the any other cloth.
But that rule is also acceptable when you're doing actually, you are in the prayer, and your son's coming and picking up this.
I'm coming to that after this, yes. So this is the second option. If you didn't find the first, then you do sajda on any cloth. The third option, if you don't have any cloth with you, it's very difficult for a person who doesn't have a cloth. Obviously, we are wearing clothes in the usual situations. But let's suppose you are in a desert somewhere, stranded, whatever, you lose your clothes. And now you can say, how can I do prayers then without the clothes? Well, I already discussed that the man can still do the prayers without the clothes by covering up his private parts. Isn't it right? If you can cover up your private parts, even through mud, rubbing some mud or clay around your private parts, and it is covered from the outside, that much coverage of private parts is sufficient for a man, not for a woman. So let's suppose you are in a situation where you don't have any cloth. So still, you can imagine situations like this. So second option is to do on any cloth. If you did not find a cloth made of cotton, then do sajda on any cloth. The third option is back of your hand. So you do the sajda, you put your right hand and do the sajda over the back of your hand. Okay? Yes. You do it on the back of the hand. You can do it on even the left hand because the fatwa did not specify the right or the left, but you can do on any of the two hands. So back of the hand is the option number 3. Like I said, you have to go in sequence. You cannot jump to number 2 as long as you can do number 1. You cannot jump to number 3 as long as you can go for number 2. So back of the hand. And then if you could not do it on the back of the hand, then the minerals. Okay? Ma'adin, minerals. So gold or silver or whatever, minerals, anything which is mineral, you can do over that. So this is the sequence we'll go. So basically we will always find back of the hand usually, and then right, these things are all possible. Even the clothes are usually, it's all possible. Now this can also be possible in the case that you have these things available with you, but you are still doing on that. Why? For the sake of taqiyya. Taqiyya. Taqiyya means protection. So if you are doing camouflage, you are surrounded in enemies of Islam and Ahlul Bayt, and if they find out you are a Shia, they are going to kill you. For example, if you are traveling some areas of Pakistan, isn't it right? And you have all those takfiri, Wahhabi, evil people who are killing the Shias. If you do sajda on some of these things and they find out that you are doing it because you are a Shia, that's why you are doing on any of these things. If they find out that you are a Shia, you are very likely to be killed in those areas, or almost confirmed, or very likely. So this is where you will have to defend yourself. You will protect yourself. So even despite the fact you have these things, but in order to defend yourself and protect yourself, you will do the taqiyya by doing it on these things again in a sequence. So you can, in a subtle way, you can put your sajda over the cloth of your sleeve. Isn't it right? So this will also be also performed by a person in the situation of taqiyya. Now, what about the question that you asked? If in the middle of the salat, if you lose one of the acceptable things, for example, a child takes away the turbat and runs away. You were doing sajda on the turbat, he takes away and runs away. It's a child. So the best thing is obviously when you have a child who can pick up things, then you pick up the turbat. When you stand up from sajda and you stand and you continue your salat, you pick up the turbat in your hand. Okay, don't leave it there when the child is there. But if you forgot to pick up and the child picks and runs away, obviously the ruling says that if the time loss of an acceptable thing. Loss of an acceptable thing during salat. If you lose one of the acceptable things upon which the sajda is okay during your salat, what is the ruling? The ruling says if the time remains for the salat or the time is short. If the time is remaining for the salat, you will break your salat and you cannot continue. You will break your salat and get the turbat again and then start your salat again from the scratch. You cannot do the sajda over your cloth or your hand. Okay, like some people I know, they ask me this question. Several people actually asked me this question. I did the sajda. Some people say I did the sajda with my hand because the child took away the turban. This is batil. You cannot do that because if the time was sufficient, time was remaining, you still have 1 more hour, 2 more hours for the salat becoming qada. The time still remains. You will break the salat and then get the turbat and restart your salat again. Okay? Or if the time is short, in that case, if the time is short, in that case you have to follow this sequence. You will first do the sajda on a cloth made of cotton if possible. If not, then any cloth. If not possible, then the back of your hand. And then like this. Is that clear? وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين